Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Soap Lore, the official gathering place for newbies, novices, and OG diehard fans of the golden age of primetime. I'm your host, Jed, still viewing and reviewing the soapiest, sudsiest primetime storylines of 1982. We got a little bit of a kerfluffle on Dallas, so whether you're new to this or true to this, sit back and enjoy. Tell the kids it's time to play outside or out of sight. Tell babe no questions, suggestions, or concerns for the next 25 to 35 minutes. Everyone else in earshot, be cool, be quiet, or you will be put out because we are watching our stories. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Soap Lore. Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Soap Lore. I hope your day is shaping up well. Baby, I couldn't leave work quick enough today. Nothing. You just have a day where you do a whole bunch of stuff. You're organizing, you're getting things in order, you're getting ready to present stuff, only to stop at the end of the day and be like, I really didn't finish anything. I started 900 little tasks that mean absolutely nothing, and I still don't have what I need to show forth. And I said, you know what? That's not my problem. That is my attitude all 2026. It is what it is. It ain't what it ain't. It's going to be what it's going to be, and I'll get to it when I get to it. It's like that. I personally feel like I'm just that good. I hope your day is awesome. I know mine's about to get a whole lot better because we have got to dive into this Dallas tea. I don't think I give Dallas enough credit for being not only a fun show to watch, but an incredibly well-written show. They are a slow burn. I never really clocked this before. You go ahead and pour yourself something. Whoa. You see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? I've been talking all day. I've been working and like being a good person and whatnot. An average person. Now my words don't want to come out clear. That's okay. We're going to fix that with a little beverage. You pour yourself up whatever you need to, something bubbly and bright, something crisp and delicious. Settle in as we jump into Season 5, Episode 6 of Dallas, The Big Shutout. Before we jump into today's episode, I'm going to read a little bit of fan mail from my new friend, Jordan. What's up, girl? Jordan says that she also remembers being put out on a Friday night when Dallas was on every time she stayed over at her grandparents' house. My new friend Jordan says, I just had to write because your last episode unlocked a core memory. My name is Jordan, and I grew up spending a ton of time with my grandma Lorraine, who happened to be a Dallas super fan. She was absolutely devoted, and this was long before she had a VCR. Friday nights were as sacred as football is in Texas. My grandma loved Dallas, but she also loved playing bingo. On this particular night, my mom and dad were out of town for the weekend at a wedding, so she took me along with her. Normally, I'd see her Saturday mornings through maybe Monday, and she'd pick me up from school quite often, but Friday nights were hers normally. Somehow, I got my arm stuck inside of a Pepsi machine and started to freak out. I was wailing and crying, throwing a complete and total fit, and my grandma stood back giving me the side eye as a couple of guys had to wheel the door open and dismantle it a little bit. I guess she's saying they had to you open those old-fashioned ones with a key. They opened it and they had to open each chamber, if I'm understanding that right. Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong. By this time, I was completely hollered out. My grandma quickly snatched my almost amputated arm and dragged me to the car along with my kid sister. When we got in the car, she proceeded to cuss me smooth out because I made her miss her stories. She was so mad, she made me sit on the back porch while she finished the rest of her stories. She absolutely felt bad after the fact and gave me root beer float. But the thing I remember the most is how pissed I was that my baby sister, 3, got to sit in and watch her stories while I had to sit outside and fight mosquitoes with an arm that almost got eaten by a Pepsi machine. I'm fairly new to your show, but I am loving the reviews so far as I too didn't get to live the magic in real time. I started watching Dallas much later. In parentheses, she says early adult, like 23 to 25, and I can 100% appreciate the appeal. Keep up the good work, Jordan. Jordan, thank you so much for telling that story. Girl, I got snatched up in the 50 off store one time. I can't remember what I did. I love how you threw Grandma Lorraine under the bus a little bit. Like, okay, I understand. Listen, we can press pause. She could not understand why she was mad. I do remember the excitement of having to rush home to watch something in real time. Now, I knew things would come back on in the summer, but I feel you, Grandma Lorraine. Y'all messed up her whole Saturday night. Excuse me, y'all messed up her whole Friday night, not Saturday. That is hilarious. Thank you so much for listening. Got one more piece. Joe just wrote me something really quick. He says, good job on the show. I know why Catherine freaks you out. Catherine gives off old school Sammy vibes before she became cool. He's talking about Sammy from Days of Our Lives. She does look like Sammy to me a little bit. It's just something in the way she carries herself. It's something in her eyes. Like I knew immediately, and I bet it is that she looks a lot like Sammy. That's probably what I'm picking up on. That she's going to be a problem. Now, some of you have already let me know the writers are going to let her do her thug fizzle. Shout out to Oregon again. Apparently, at some point, they're going to really just let her do her thing. I love when shows do that. I think that's the beauty of being a nighttime soap opera. I mean, you got to move the story along, but you don't have to rush through it the way maybe a show on Netflix might. You know what I'm saying? You get to let people develop. I've been thinking about this though. Rebecca J.G. Wentworth did not put any of her kids in a great position. I'm sorry, before I go too deep, remember, you can also reach out to me at any time. I love hearing from you guys. Let me know about your grandma on bingo night. You ruining it for her. Having to lick your wounds on the back porch. Or maybe you like me, you had to go for a screwdriver run with your auntie before the shows came on. Or maybe you think a character's super weird, a little bit creepy. You can let me know either way. If you're listening to this on a mobile device, just check the show notes. There is a link that says send us a text. You can send me a text, or you can reach out the good old-fashioned way via email at soaplorepodcast@gmail.com. That's soaplorepodcast@gmail.com. Let's go on and get back to this here story. Rebecca J.G. Wentworth and her children. I just want to say, I need to be a little bit more fair to Catherine. I know a mean girl. I don't know if she's a bad girl. I know she's a mean girl. She definitely has that look. It could also be that I just watched the movie Heathers not too long ago. When I tell you the way I remembered it was, God, I probably remember 2% of that movie. This is what happens when you leave children unsupervised. This is what happens. You got 4-year-olds watching HBO all day and night and Cinemax and whatever else. Still respectfully covering my eyes during the naughty parts. But I remember the movie Heathers as these girls who had these amazing blazers that I could not wait to wear once I was a teenager. One of them had something blue in her glass, and then she disappeared, and they just sort of started to take over each other's personality. That is my perception as a little kid. That is what I'm remembering. Now, I do remember Christian, almost called him Christian Bell. What's his name? Christian Slater. I remember thinking he was cute as a kid. As I look back on that, like he was a baddie patty. He was fine for real, for real. My goodness. But anyway, I don't remember him being as menacing as he was in this film. This movie is so messed up. R.I.P. Shannon Doherty was in it as well. But maybe that was fresh in my mind. Maybe not. She does look like Sammy from Days of Our Lives, right about the eyes. They got those light eyes. I'm always looking at girls at the side of my eye when they show up on TV like that. I'm like, okay, you're about to be a problem. But more importantly, she was giving big heather hair. I'm like, okay, I know who this is. I know what this trope is. This is the Regina George. This is the mean girl of this group. But in all fairness, I need to give her a shot. This girl is coming out of the woodworks. Your mom, who you've known your entire life, has been madly in love with your dad. You've heard their romantic story about her life growing up, blah, blah, blah. Only to find out, oh yeah, by the way, I had 2 kids that I left. It's a problem. What I'm noticing is that none of her children want to confront her because she's so sweet. They're willing to let bygones be bygones, but I gotta give Catherine a break too. You're hearing out of the woodworks that your brother, who you just met 10 minutes ago, is going to run your deceased dad's company. Okay. Who is he? You don't even know him like that. Then you find out you got a sister who's normally cool, but she is now in an insane asylum. So the only way for y'all to connect is through this sort of fog of her mental illness. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we start the show off. The episode does not start off with Pam per se, but it does start off talking about Pam. So, at the beginning of the episode, we see Bobby dressed in a full suit in the middle of Dallas, Texas, walking out on the patio. No one else is there. Pours himself a little bit of coffee. Drive up Ray and Miss Donna Culver. Bobby leaves pretty quickly, but Ray and Donna have the opportunity to talk to themselves, thus the audience, talking about how they can't really believe that Pam is in an asylum, or what do they call it, a mental hospital. Ray goes on to say she's the last person on earth I ever would expect to fall apart, which is probably true considering the way she grew up. You would think there'd be very little that could tear her down the point in her life. Donna chimes in and she goes, well, I guess we didn't all really know how much a baby meant to her. It's just, I hate that she's going through this. I really hate to see her suffering the way she is. Ray agrees. Ellie comes out of the house. Did Bobby leave? Yeah, Bobby left. He went to go see Pam. Ellie then tells them and the audience that Jock just called. He's flying in from Washington, but he's only going to be here about an hour, hour and a half. This is his layover before he flies to South America, Venezuela, wherever. I don't mean to poke holes in the story, Dallas, but it doesn't seem like you would fly from New York to Dallas in order to connect to go to Venezuela. It seemed like it'd have to be on the coast somewhere, right? Miami, maybe? But let's say, for the sake of this argument and soap tax, Jock just wanted to pop in and see his family before he left the country. He feels like let me give my family the courtesy of blessing them with my face real quick. Like, only everybody is busy. They're not able to make that happen. I do find it interesting the way they're still folding Jock into this. I love that they do that, and it only adds to the appeal of the show. It never really occurred to me until this episode how much I like the writing on this show. I think I'm having so much fun enjoying JR, enjoying everybody's story. I'm moved sometimes. I laugh a whole lot. But they really do know what they're doing. They're letting it fold, or unfold rather, bit by bit, piece by piece, as slowly as they need to. And when I look at it through the lens of good writing, I can see the connection with Knots Landing a little better. A few episodes back, I think I said that the actors on Falcon Crest are by far the most serious, in my opinion. Not to say that no one else took their craft seriously, but I think the writing is so good that it feels easy. Maybe that's what it is. They seem at ease. It feels very easy. And so it doesn't appear that these people are actually like trying very hard to be taken seriously. They're just sort of letting it happen, letting the characters develop organically, and it looks good. With the exception, I'm going to go ahead and say it, Lucy is still struggling, but if they didn't do nothing else this season, they made sure she looks good. We'll talk about Lucy here in a little bit. Okay, so Pam. Pam is visited by Bobby, and she's not out of her mind. She is depressed. It's the word they're not using very heavily here, but that is exactly what it is. She's not in a mental asylum. Let me correct myself. She is in a hospital because she is chronically depressed at this point. She's embarrassed. Bobby, I'm so sorry I let you down. And he's like, baby, you did not let me down. I promise you, you didn't. She doesn't believe him, but we get to dig a little deeper into her situation this episode. She's chilling in her room. She looks good. She's got her hair did, her makeup's on, her clothes are in order. She looks like herself, except turned down. Like if her light is usually at like a 10 or 11, she's probably at about like a 3. It's a weight you can feel walking into her room, but that doesn't stop her brand new creaky kid sister from showing up for her. Catherine comes in and introduces herself, and Pam is elated. Oh my God, hi. You are so beautiful, Catherine says to her. Girl, you are so beautiful. We got Mama's pretty gene. I'll give us that. This is good for Pam's spirit. Well, sit down, little sister. Tell me all about you. I want to talk to you for a little bit. Unfortunately, Catherine can't stay because she needs to get back east. She has a job. She already told them she's not trying to be a reporter in Dallas, so she needs to get back east as soon as possible, but she just didn't feel right leaving without meeting her sister. Pam gets really sad, and this is a very important part of her breakdown. It isn't that she's not excited to have a little sister. That's wonderful and all. But the thing she's excited about is hearing how this young girl's life was having a mom around all the time. This is making me not like Rebecca J.G. Wentworth. I know she's making amends, but also you left two little kids and said absolutely nothing. Probably would have been content to remain out of the picture, but we'll never know that because Pam went to find her and she wasn't super receptive. It sucks. It sucks for all parties involved, but I think they're trying to make the best of it. I'll give her Catherine a little grace, but I don't know if I could take it. I don't think actually I think it's a good thing that Catherine is heading back east because the last thing Pam needs right now is to hear about how wonderful this girl's life was having a loving and nurturing mom. Catherine's reaction is interesting. When Pam says, I wanted to know what it was like when growing up with mama around, Catherine, it's almost as if she burned her hand. Like she didn't snatch it back in an ugly way, but she's starting to realize for the first time, you can see it in her face that, oh crap, these aren't just my siblings. These are people who they grew up without a mom. It's one thing to know that your mom had a family and she left them with the dad. It's easy to assume they had a stepmom, they had other people step in. She's realizing my mom left them without a mom. They are a one parent type family, one parent type kids. And look at this girl state now. You can see the wheels sort of spinning, the realization hitting her like, damn, that's really messed up. That's real messed up. Maybe I'm projecting, maybe I'm not, but that is the vibe I get from looking at this girl's face. So Pam reveals a little bit more. We're starting to see why she snapped at the time that she did snap. Pam is now on a first name basis with Dr. Conrad, whose government name is Dagmara. Makes me think of Dagwood. Not an ugly name, just I've never heard before. So Dr. Dagmara says, Pam, I noticed earlier when I was spying on you that you seemed a little upset when Bobby came to visit you. It seemed like you got a little more depressed than usual. What gives, sis? Up until this point, Pam has felt like these are I'm wasting your time, Dr. Conrad, Dagmara, if you don't mind me calling you that. Dagmara doesn't mind. I'm wasting your time. There's really nothing to talk about here. But this question makes her think. She goes, well, it's probably John Ross. Dr. Dagmara says, who is John Ross? Pam explains that John Ross is her nephew. John Ross Ewing the third, that is. Okay, well, tell me about him. Well, he's gone now. Gone where? Well, see, what had happened was I kidnapped him and took him to his mother. You see, his dad was a world-class douchebag, right? And his wife, Sue Ellen, my sister-in-law, left him. He didn't want the baby, John Ross, to be with Sue Ellen. See, me and the baby were real close because when Sue Ellen had the baby, she wasn't really feeling him or whatever. She might have been as depressed as I am. So I took care of him. I fed him. I changed him. I used to hold him all the time. And I felt like he needs to be with his mother. And his mother asked me to sneak him down there. So I put him in my little two-seater, no car seat, drove him down to San Angelo. He is with his mama now. And that's where he needs to be. A baby should be with his mother. Then she thinks a little bit and she says, nobody ever did that for me. Dr. Dagmar is acting. I say that because Pam has her back to the doctor as she's telling this story. And the doctor looks genuinely like perplexed. Like, well, I mean, what do you mean nobody ever did that for you? Actually, she's not being obtuse. She doesn't know this woman's full story. Pam explains that up until a month or so ago, she thought her mom was dead. All that time she was growing up, nobody came and snatched her up and took her away from the situation she was growing up in. It's all starting to make sense. It's a perfect storm. John Ross leaving, or actually being taken to his mother who wants him, her finding her mother who wants her now, it does nothing to ease the sort of void that she's had in her heart all this time. She admitted the last episode, maybe the episode before that, that she's been upset for a very long time, but it seems like she's at the point now where she can't really ignore it. There are too many things in her life amplifying this, and even with Rebecca in her life now, she doesn't feel any better about the situation. I really do think it is this baby leaving, Kristen dying, Kristen being the mom. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to think about, and it's all just really sad. She's coming to the conclusion like, dang, If I had a kid, I would never do that to my kid. But now I can't even have a kid. I can't have a kid. I couldn't have a mom. I'm feeling like a failure. What's the point of even being here anymore? She talking real crazy now. She's trying to get up out of here. We need you, Pam. That's not happening. Unbeknownst to her, Bobby is at his office minding his business when he gets a call from Kristen's man from LA. When last we left, dude from LA says, "Hey, you give me 2 grand, I'm gonna give you some just hot information, hottest tea you can buy." He's like, "All right, fine." So Bobby gets the money out of the bank, leaves his day job to go wait on a man who may or may not show up. He's waiting around an hour outside in Dallas in a hot suit coat. Finally, a man in a safari jacket who looks like William H. Macy and Brad Pitt's baby cousin. He comes sauntering up and he's like, "You Bobby?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm Bobby. You telephone?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm telephone." "Damn, took you long enough to get here." He's like, "I'm sorry, I had to watch. I had to make sure you weren't gonna have me jump, put a bag over my head. I heard you Ewings are kind of slimy." Bobby's like, "Yeah, okay, fair, fair. So why are you talking to me then?" He says, "Kristen also said you're the only Ewing I could trust." Can you imagine how exhausting it is to be the good guy? Every time you see Bobby, he is ripping and running. He's pulled in 75 different directions. He's making mama happy. He's trying to make his wife happy. He's trying to run the company. He's trying to be a cowboy. God bless him. Can I just sit down, please? Can I just put my feet up, smoke a cigar every now and again? Walk around in my drawers. Do I feel better about Gary? Yeah, actually, I get it. I definitely wouldn't want to be the slimiest person in the family, but I definitely wouldn't want to be the good boy. I think him being alcoholic and out of the way is a good look for him for now. Anyway, telephone man says, "Here, I got something for you. You got my money?" Like, "Yeah, I got chump change, baby. Here's your $2,000. Give me what you got. What you got? What you got that I have to be outside in this Texas heat in this jacket for so long?" Man hands him a large manila envelope with every receipt this man could ever want. A birth certificate certifying that Christopher Shepard was born in Los Angeles. We get to see his little footprint. You're like, okay, so there's a real baby. That's Kristen's baby, okay. And then, well, there's checks, copies of checks in this manila envelope. Telephone explains to Bobby, "Well, the baby daddy lived here in Dallas, and I'm getting tired of child support." I had to rewatch that. I was like, wait a minute. This man says he's getting tired of child support and basically watching this kid. What man who's not paying child support? That's the weirdest thing I ever heard about. Like, so, sir, you're not paying child support. You are receiving $20,000 a month to take care of a child, and you're like, ugh, gross. He doesn't say that he's tired of paying child support. He said he's tired of paying for the child's support now that Kristen is deceased. Mind you, 20,000 doll hairs a month is what he's receiving. But he'd rather fly coach from LA to Dallas, Texas in 1982 and receive $2,000 instead of continuing to collect $20,000 a month. Do you understand what I'm saying? $20,000 a month. He would rather have 10% than that full money. I don't know what this kid's plan is, but the plan seems like it's ass. Maybe, just maybe, the whole world knows that Kristen is deceased, but that man still knows that he's got a baby, allegedly, in LA. You're going to just stop? You're just going to stop paying? That's my only thought. That's the only reason I feel like this man would show up out of the woodworks to return this child. Otherwise, you got a golden goose. Bradley William H. Macy Pitt in the safari jacket, aka Mr. Telephone, tells Bobby, "Listen, I tried to reach out to his father, but his dad won't see me. I bet you could return his little bastard child to him if you want. But I'll be in touch." I guess as long as he doesn't dangle the actual child in front of Bobby, he can stretch this out a little bit. This seems like a really terrible plan. I have to wonder if he's not currently high at the moment. Not that I'm believing, JR, that Christian showed up high as a kite and tripped and fell over the balcony. I don't believe that. But maybe there is a sliver of truth to the high part. That's all I'm saying. Before we get too deep into the rest of this, let me go ahead and do some of the bit players really quick, because speaking of not liking money, I Hate Money Mitch is at an afternoon party. Dr. Chicken Bone Jones. They're chittering about the possibility of Mitch coming to work for Dr. Chicken Bone Jones and in plastic surgery. Now that he realizes it's not about boobs and Brazilian butt lifts, willing to help. Yeah, I want to help kids with cleft palates. I want to help burn victims. This sounds like a really swell thing. I can't believe I never thought about this before. I will absolutely abandon research and become a surgeon, possibly. Maybe, just maybe. Meanwhile, on the other side of this sprawling estate, Lucy shows up with a date to the same afternoon party. Now, turns out this is the home of Lucy's homegirl, a girl she went to high school with, grew up with. This girl is back home from college back east. Dr. Chicken Bone Jones also has some friends in town who are from back east, and they figured, let's just have us a really good time outside. Let's enjoy this warm Texas weather and dress in our Sunday finest. It looks like an Easter party. I guess it's called a garden party, but there's no lie, like 150 people there. Lucy looks fantastic. Like I said, the acting still ain't where it needs to be, but they make sure that she is putting on the illest. She looks good in everything she's wearing. She's got on the Marilyn Monroe dress, but it's in hot pink. Looks so good. She's also got a little tenderoni on her shoulder. So she walks into the party. One of her homegirls finds her. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. They're talking. They send the tenderoni boy off to get 2 cocktails, which he manages to drink before he finds them again, by the way. But Lucy looks over and she sees I Hate Money Mitch talking to the good doctor who's her homegirl's dad. So she walks over there and she's like, hey, Dr. Chicken Bone Jones. Hey, Lucy, what you doing here? Oh, I'm just hanging out. Dr. Chicken Bone Jones goes to introduce her to Mitch. And he goes like, oh, this is my husband. I know Mitch. Oh, I didn't realize this was the same Mitch. Probably thinking, oh, dang, he don't look broke. You know he knows all the tea because you know. You know this is jealous. You know the daughter and the mom talks, and then you know Choke and Chelsea and Dr. Chicken Bone Jones have pillow talk, and they talked all about it. He didn't realize this was the same person. Oh, okay. Let me give y'all some privacy. He gives them privacy, and they begin to walk and talk, and it's so difficult to hear them over the cicadas. I guess they couldn't dub the scene, so they just 175 cicadas giving a whole orchestra reenactment of Phantom of the Opera or something. I don't know. It's huge. It's like a cacophonous droning. But the lovely couple discussed just a couple of highlights. I miss you. I miss you too. I want you back. I want you back, but I don't want to rush in anything. I am considering other forms of practicing medicine, my love, perhaps a little plastic surgery. But no matter what I do, I'll never be a Ewing. And Lucy's like, at what point, my friend? At what point did I ask you to do this? That's it. That's all for the happy couple. They look lovely. It's hot as fish grease. They got on all these clothes, and the cicadas are wild, this scene. Glad to see this kid is finally embracing the high life. Ain't nothing wrong with having a little bit of money. But money seems to be the deciding factor in a lot of people's relationship on this show. Enter the Beverly Crabbillies. They're navigating new deals, new money, and new challenges in their marriage. Ray wants to move on a business deal without the Bolo, Don Juan, and Jock in them. He's pretty confident he can do it. So he had reached out to that San Antonio guy like, dude, hold on just a little bit longer. I know the Don Juan and Big Jock are gone, but I might be able to do something with this. You feel me? He's had a little bit of success. He seems to have a knack for it, but he's still a little bit apprehensive because he only has $100,000 in the bank and he doesn't want to ask his old lady for the money. So while he's trying to figure out how he's going to pull off this deal solo dolo, Donna is mourning the good old days. You see, Donna misses the simple-minded, hot-body cowboy she fell in love with. His entrepreneurship is ruining her rodeo fantasy. Eventually, she decides that having a husband with a brain isn't the worst thing in the world. Okay. After lamenting to Ellie about how her rodeo fantasies are falling by the wayside because this fool wants to go out and make money and stuff, Ellie says, girl, listen, everybody's marriage changes. Everybody goes through their own thing. You got to decide for yourself, do you want to spend your life with this man? And if so, you're going to have to make those adjustments as he changes. I'm not saying you have to necessarily change, but you do need to give him that freedom. Eventually, you guys will sort of ebb back together. Just let it be. And I promise you it'll work out. Just be supportive in this, okay? I mean, otherwise, she's not wrong. Otherwise, this could blow up in her face. So one night, he's at home. They're at home together. She's already dropped her pants. She's walking around in a button-down shirt, nothing else. He's crunching numbers at the counter and having a beer. I understand why she's worried and I understand why she's turned off. It is a little bit disturbing watching Ray Krebs fumble with that calculator. I'm wondering what numbers he's. It's disturbing. I understand she's like, this don't feel right. I don't know what I'm looking at anymore. Please go ride a horse or something. But she's trying to remember what Ellie says. I'm a supportive wife. I'm a supportive wife. I'm a supportive wife. We are Beverly Crib Billies and we're gonna be fine. He can be country and rich. You don't forget how to ride a horse, you know what I'm saying? So she basically says, okay, I have connections. I know rich people. So you don't have the support of Jock and Bolo Don Juan right now, aka Punk Anderson. But I know some people, and plus, you know me, I got 10 million reasons why I can believe in you. And he's like, babe, I don't really want that. If we start working together, things are going to fall apart. I fully, fully agree. I think it is a terrible, very bad, awful idea for them to work together. But she insists she'll be a silent partner. I'm not going to say boo about anything, honey. I'll just front the money and you do your thing. A divorce incoming in 5, 4, 3, 2, negative $10 million. This feels like a setup. This feels like a setup. Now she gonna be broke too. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'm calling it now. San Antonio seems a little bit shady to me. Feels like a setup. But anyway, they happy or whatever for the time being. Speaking of riding horses, we get a very sweet and sentimental moment with Sue Ellen and Dusty's daddy. Dusty's daddy has a sprawling estate, and he is on his trust. He's just sort of out by himself, looking over the land. Sue Ellen rides up on one of his horses, and she's like, "Hey, Dusty's daddy. Hey, girl, how you doing?" "I'm fine. What you out here doing? What you doing way over here?" Must be nice to have enough land to just kind of, you can just ride 20 minutes and you're still on your own property. He explains to her that he's looking out over the old house. There's no house where he's looking at. It's gone. And she quickly notices that and says, well, where's old house? He sadly explains that he had it torn down after his wife died because his wife died in the house. See, what had happened was Dusty's mom had been sick for a minute, and Dusty's daddy could sense that she was probably nearing the end, and maybe subconsciously he didn't want to see her leave. So he was away at the time that she passed away, and so was Dusty. Dusty was at the rodeo. Dusty's daddy was out doing Dusty's daddy business. She dies. He has the whole thing torn down. This is also the house that Dusty was born in, and it was just too hard to look at that. Rebuilt a new house, which is sprawling and beautiful as well, but he comes out there often just to feel like he's near to her, just to sort of remind himself of what he did and how sad it makes him. But he seems sad, but not brokenhearted, I guess. Sue Ellen hears the story and she's like, man, that is beautiful. I'm so, so sorry for your loss. I want you to know it's not your, like, basically she's comforting him, but she says something to the effect of, if I ever hurt Steven or if I feel like I'm hurting him, or if my presence is too much, I can understand I might need to step away. I want you to know how much I love your son and how I don't want to make him unhappy. Dusty's daddy says with all the genuineness in the world, he's like, you're not hurting him. You might be the best thing that ever happened to him. He is so grateful to watch his son grow in love with somebody. I believe him. He is meddling when it comes to their private time. But the more I see him with her, he seems protective. He does not seem to be playing her. He does not seem to be jealous of their relationship. I don't know. I don't know though. So I'm like, but there's something I can't quite put my finger on. I don't think it's bad, but I think maybe he thinks she is going to get tired of him eventually. That's why he's being so kind. Like, I want you to be comfortable here. I want the baby to be comfortable here. Also, if your son's impotent, there's not a good chance you're going to have a blood grandchild. So her having this baby is kind of a perfect world. I don't know. I don't feel like he's a bad person. I really don't. I don't see it. But let that dude in Houston tell it. This man is gangster when he gets angry. He reassures her. He thanks her. He lets her know how happy he is to have her there. And he's like, well, let's go home and let's go play with that baby. She's like, yeah, let's do that. Ellie does show up in a helicopter, which is so annoying. I would have to let her know, listen, you're going to have somebody drive you to San Angelo. Or we'll pick you up at the airport, because what you're not going to do is keep kicking up all this dust when we want to sit out here and drink lemonade and stuff. She pulls up in this murdery chop your head off type toy helicopter, pops out. Sand is blowing everywhere. If you've ever been to West Texas or the plains of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, you hear me. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That wind is horrible. Your house is filled with dust, dust in your teeth, dust in your eyes all the time. Last thing you're going to do is kick up dust 10 feet in front of my door. She does anyway. She hops out to visit John Ross, brings him a sweet race car as a present. I'm like, God, that's a fantastic grandma to have around. Starts to chatter, chatter, chit, chit with Sue Ellen over lemonade, which we now know is filled with dust. When Dusty comes out of the house because Daddy Dusty is also sitting down chatting with Ellie, he's one of the girls. They having a good time. Nobody's uncomfortable. Him, Sue Ellen, the baby. Ellie having a good time drinking this dirty lemonade. Dusty comes out and he's like, Daddy, I need to talk to you. So he's already got word that the oil that is supposed to be coming to the refinery, there's a little bit of a problem with it. They don't know yet. The problem is actually JR. So when you think about the title of this episode called The Big Shutout, that's what I was thinking. Like this is the big shutout for Dusty and his dad and their refinery. Only at the moment, it doesn't seem like a huge deal. Dusty and his dad dip to go figure out what's going on. And that's the last we see of them this whole episode. Ladies and gentlemen, so queens alike, I beg your finest pardon. I thought that Punk Anderson was recruited by the United States government to go down to South America to dig oil wells. On the last episode, no, it was towards the middle of this episode, and San Antonio guy, the land deal dude, was at the table with Ray when Punk Anderson comes up and lets him know. Punk Anderson is the Bolo Don one. When he comes up and lets them know that he's got to get on the first thing smoking and get down to South America. I think the last episode, they were not sure if they were going to jump into the deal. I think that's what happened. Okay, so anyway, let's move on to the main event. JR, when last we left, had asked the banks with a straight face for $200 million. We learned pretty quickly that that's a lot of money. That might as well be $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? It's so much money on a gamble. So JR is telling everybody with a straight face, I've already got all this oil basically accounted for. I'm going to hold on to it for 30 days or so, and then I'm going to let it loose, and everybody's going to be rich, especially me. And the banks are like, okay, I mean, you've had some shady deals. You've always sort of come through. We really want to help you out, my brother, but it's a lot of money. We could do 100 million. JR isn't hearing this. This isn't good news. They're in his office, they being 5 bank representatives and JR. He's like, you telling me you can do half of that? Where's the other half of my money going to come from? I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. We got someone. We got someone down in Houston who may be able to help you out. JR's like, well, let him in. Door opens to his office, and it's none other than his old best friend, Von Leland. You might remember Von Leland from last season. He was the one who JR screwed over especially hard. Man lost his job. Man lost his reputation, but he's walking in there smiling like everything is sweet. When your enemy walks through your door, somebody you have personally screwed over walks in with a smile, you better clench. Because it's going to go down. You either get punched in the face, pushed out a window. It's about to go down. Well, I almost fixed my mouth to say that the bank representatives would have no idea that JR and Leland Vaughn had a past, or Von Leland, I forget which one is his government name. I think his first name is Vaughn, so let's call him Leland from here on out, okay? But of course they're going to know he has a past. JR's face was splashed all over the news. Everybody knows this. But it's cool because Leland's here and he's like, that's water under the bridge. Why don't you tell me about your little experiment, JR? JR is precautious, as one would be when you were used to screwing people over. You got to keep a great attitude and a poker face. Leland Vaughn, what the heck is Vaughn? Hey, bro, what you doing here? You in Houston now? He's like, yeah, I'm in Houston now, but, lucky for me and lucky for you, I made so much money with them Asian oil wells. Ain't nobody tripping about nothing. I am doing well, my brother in Houston. Go ahead and tell me about your little project. JR explains it, and Leland is like, I don't know about this. I think I need to sit with this. I think I need to think about this for a little bit. I'll let you know, though. Well, the bank representatives have told JR, if Leland's in, they're in. If Leland ain't in, they ain't in. So now he has to figure out, how am I going to unscrew over this guy? Well, there's only one answer. Miss Afternoon Delight enters the chat. Now, this This episode is a little odd to me because she's covered up for the first time. She is in a gorgeous emerald green ensemble with a bronze colored Wonder Woman belt. She's covered up. She looks like a housewife. She really could be somebody's missus. Only she has been reduced to a call girl and a lounge singer. So JR is at her apartment and he can do that because he pays for it. And I mean, what could she really say? And she's fixing him a drink and he's explaining to her, I need you to be real friendly with my homeboy Leland. I need him to want to give me all the money in his bank account because I need it, baby girl. I need you. She's like, I don't like doing this no more, JR. Golly, I thought I was going to be singing by now. Like, this isn't fun for me. I really don't like this. Plus, let the record reflect, every man she's forced to hook up with is getting older and less attractive. It is getting gross by this point. She's like, man, you ain't got no other side pieces you can call? He's like, no, actually, I don't. This is the cost of banging the boss, baby girl. You want to keep this roof over your head? He's actually a little sweeter than that. He's like, no, darling, I need you. I need you like I needed those other times. She's like, no, this is different than it was with Cliff. Like, he was setting you up or something. Like, I understand that. This is different. He's like, no, but it ain't though. Plus, baby girl, you were this close to getting your record deal. You mean it, JR? My record deal? Girl. CG at least had a recording session. Dominique Devereaux with 2 little D's has a whole residency. You gotta pull something up, girl. JR looks her in her eye and says, darling, have I ever lied to you? Have I ever let you down? She starts thinking, he's like, well, I mean, no. All right, then, cool. Bring him in. So Leland stops by the apartment. He's immediately intrigued by this woman 60 years his junior. Maybe not 60 years, but at least 45. Ugh. She's trying to get there, but she's fixing them drinks. She ain't had a drink herself. We later find out that she was not as receptive as maybe JR would have liked her to be. And we know this because Leland decides to take himself out to a steak dinner. It has become my new obsession to look at the wait staff and see what sort of wardrobe they're in. Interestingly enough, the milkmaids are out. We got regular cave women this time. Everybody's in those Jessica's. You remember that Jessica Simpson tube dress in the early aughts? They were basically swimsuit covers, strapless, sort of semi-fitted at the boobs, and they just sort of flowed down. Wonderful. You had, a little bloating or whatever. They made them in maxi dresses too. Anyway, all these girls are dressed like Wilma Flintstone and Betty Rubble. Everybody's wearing brown cave woman dresses. But you know what? They're respectable. The boobs are covered up. Leland's eating his steak dinner. And he calls in a friend. Now, this friend happens to be a very savvy businessman and some sort of reporter who's always reporting on different oil stocks and blase blase. Well, this reporter is prompted by Leland to explain to the audience that this dude is good at predicting the market as far as oil goes. And he says that they're in a very volatile market. However, the price of oil is going to rise in the long term. Leland says, well, what about in the short term? I'm saying like 30 days. What do you think it's going to do? Mind you, JR wants a 30-day loan. This guy says 10 to 15 days, it should be okay. And then it's going to drop like tank, probably bottom out. And then in the long run, it'll be cool. So Leland's like, okay, 10 to 15 days, blah, blah, blah. 30 days, it's going to suck. But in the long term, it's going to be good, right? Yeah, in the long term, it's going to be fine. All right, thank you, buddy. Thank you. And he's out. Leland decides right then and there what he's going to do. If JR wants a 30-day loan and he wants to hold on to oil, thinking he's going to make his money back in 30 days, the best thing Leland can do in order to get this sweet, ice-cold revenge is say, yes, friend, go ahead and take this loan that he secretly knows he's going to definitely default on. Yeah, I think you should have it. So he calls up JR while he's at dinner, and he says, JR, I just don't know, buddy. I still got a few questions that I need. I'm not 100% ready to pull the trigger, but maybe you can clear up some things. This is when they meet at Afton's. This is when she's like not receptive, blah, blah, blah. So by episode's end, homeboy is in his office. I'm assuming he's in Houston. And he calls up JR. He says, "Hey, homeboy, go on and come down here. I think I'm going to talk to you about this. I think I'm ready to ask a few more questions, and I'll make my decision." JR shows up, and Leland asks a question or two, and then he says, "You know what? I'm feeling froggy. I'm going to jump." JR, you got yourself a deal. "You sure you want to do this, JR?" JR's like, "Yeah, I got it." "All right, dude, what the hell?" Leland pulls out some paperwork from his briefcase. "You'll just need to sign here." And he goes, While JR is looking over the paper, they're making small talk about Afton and whatnot. And Leland even tells him, "Maybe I said a lot of things to you I regret. I'm so sorry I was so harsh to you back then. Everything worked out." He's like, "Don't worry about it. Water under the bridge. I get cussed out all the time." Leland plays his part very well, quite perfectly, if you will. This is the masterclass in a poker face. He says, "JR, now remember, 30 days, this bill is due. Come hell, high water, rain, shine, whatever." JR's like, "I know that. No problem. Everything's going to be fine. And if not, then you'll own Ewing Oil Company and I'll work for you." Dun, dun, dun. Sweet revenge. I guess you just got to play the long game sometimes. I need to make a quick little correction. Bobby is looking over the checks that Jordan Lee has been writing to Chris Dunn, and they all say $2,000, not $20,000. So I guess I'm thinking about the last time we saw them together when he went to her hotel room. He gave her the $20,000, and maybe that was the last one. I swear, though, one of these checks says 1984. The other one says 1981. So, hell, I don't know. But I do know that was a great episode. I remembered something over the weekend about Dallas. Apparently, after JR was shot, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, the show didn't come back for over a year because of the writing strike. Because I kept wondering myself, like, if Knots Landing and this show started about the same time, why is there such a time lapse? You guys have been so kind to me. No spoilers, and I appreciate that. But you're like, season 6, it'll line up a little bit better with Knots Landing's season. I can't remember which one. I guess they might be season 5. But that would make sense to me why it feels so off, because they're if they shot this right after Jock died, that would be like 1981, right? They're trying to figure out what to do. Probably deciding, are they going to recast him or they're going to do whatever. Really doesn't matter. Neither here nor there. It was just a passing thought as to why it feels so disjointed at this point. All right, guys, that's it. That's all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were rewatching these in real time, getting your entire life. I hope the rest of your evening, morning, or afternoon is delightful. If not, it's okay to turn off that phone and do whatever you need to do to take care of you. We're not going to end up in any asylums. Join me next time as we jump back into another primetime vintage gem. I think it's going to be Knots Landing for the reason I just feel like I need to jump back on Knots Landing or Dynasty. I don't know which one, but it'll be one of those. In the meantime, in between time, if you get your arm stuck in a vending machine trying to grab an extra Pop-Tart, I'm with you. I'm going to laugh, but I'm with you, my friend. But you better not make me miss my story. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, mind your own business, and keep all of your drama on TV.